those of you who are going into a medical field or medical profession, right, you're like, I don't really have to deal with people skills. Yeah, it's not true anymore. One of my very good friends' husbands is in his last year of residency. He's an incredibly smart human being, and he had an extra year of residency because he is specializing not just in orthopedics, but also in neuro because he's learning to rebuild hands. Literally, coolest thing ever, right? And so now, in medical school, they actually have classes that's called bedside manner. Like they are teaching doctors and physicians how to communicate better with people because that is the #1 complaint. It wasn't malpractice. It wasn't that they did surgery on the wrong knee. It was that they had terrible communication skills. So even medical profession, this is growing in importance. So this really does apply to everybody. So to jump right in, again, because we're doing a quick, dirty version of this, is the difference between interpersonal and intrapersonal. Has anyone heard of intrapersonal?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So you can cheat because I gave you the answer up here already. But tell me what you think of. And again, you have 2 packets in front of you. You have an assessment we're going to touch in just a second, but all of this is just the boring stuff going on behind my head. Okay? That way you have a copy of it. But what is intrapersonal?
Going off of your
Yeah.
slides.
Yeah, cheat. Come on, I gave it to you.
So it's like what you're thinking
Mm-hmm.
in your head, like,
Yeah.
internal thoughts, like.
It's internal thoughts. It's really what you think about yourself. Now, I don't have time to show you Amy Cuddy. Has anyone ever heard of Amy Cuddy before? Amy Cuddy is a social scientist, and it's okay. Amy Cuddy is a social scientist, and her bread and butter is talking about power posing. Has anyone ever heard of power posing?
Is that where you stand in the mirror and like strike a pose?
Yes, something that makes you feel powerful. If you watch Grey's Anatomy, they had an episode a couple seasons ago where a couple of them were in there, they were doing their power posing, and they referenced Amy Cuddy in the power posing. Of course, again, my inner dork lights up when all things like this happen. But that's exactly what it is. Did you know that your nonverbal behavior and what you're doing actually messes with your head? It actually messes with your intrapersonal communication. It messes with what you feel about yourself. So right now, it's freezing in this room. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of you are standing there like this because you're cold. Okay, if it's not cold, some of you are standing there like, sitting with your arms crossed or sitting slouched or kind of nodding off or doing whatever it is. That doesn't just communicate to me, it communicates to yourself too. So yes, the whole thing behind power posing is strike a pose, makes you feel good, do it for a couple of minutes, and then go into a situation that is causing you stress, and you'll be better mentally equipped to deal with that situation. Okay? But all of that ties into intrapersonal. So on the flip side, interpersonal is what?
Your outside communication with other people?
Yeah, it's the clear communication between 2 or more people, right? Because in order for a communicative event to happen, you have to have at least one counterpart, right? A lot of what we do involves even more than that. But yes, it's verbal and it's nonverbal, okay? All right, so basic communication process. We talked about intrapersonal, we talked about interpersonal. All of this actually happens together. Has anyone seen this before? Anyone taken a human comm class? You probably have because you're media, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is it's a scientific way of looking at a really simple process. Somebody says something and then somebody interprets something. It's pretty much what it is, right? So in this beginning phase, the sender, right? So I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you, so I'm the sender, and I'm putting meaning to the words that are coming out of my mouth. When the sender, the speaker, says things that puts meaning to things coming out of their mouth, the fancy word for that is encoding. If you're familiar with like IT or tech talk or anything like that, it has to do with the same thing. They have to encode things in order for the computer to decode things. So right here, message channel, what's the message channel right now? Any idea?
Probably like your voice.
Yeah, how am I communicating to you? I'm in your face, right? I'm here, face to face. Other message channels, phone, radio, what else? FaceTime. What else can you do? Email, sign language, right. Okay, so there are different message channels, and we have to choose the best channel in order to get that message across. So once that message comes across, this is when the decoding happens. Decoding is a fancy way of saying that the listener or the receiver is assigning meaning to the words that the sender is saying. So can we maybe understand where some issues might come into play? Because my life experience is probably very different than all of yours. Quick story. When we moved from Missouri to the state of Georgia, I was 8. I've been 5'8" since I was 13, so like I was still really tall when I was 8. Okay, my mom though, on the flip side, isn't even 5 foot tall. My dad's 6'2", my mom's 4'11". We have tall girls and a short boy in the family, go figure, right? So my mom and I are walking into the grocery store, and the woman says, "Do you want a buggy?" And my mom did not even pay her any mind. And so the woman asked again, she goes, "No, ma'am, would you like a buggy?" And my mom's like, "Do you not see that this thing is like as tall as me? Like referring to me, like as tall as me. I don't need a buggy. Why would I need a buggy?" Because in my mom's head, a buggy, the word buggy is a baby stroller. To the greeter, it's a grocery cart, a shopping cart. So my mom goes, she goes, no, a buggy, something for your groceries. You need something to put your groceries in. And my mom goes, oh, a cart. And the woman goes, no, a buggy. So it's one of those things that words mean things differently depending on where you grow up. Does anyone in here call soda that's not Coca-Cola Coke? Probably. Does anyone say pop? Say soda? Anybody say? I mean, everything means something different depending on where you grew up. And that's where up here, this field of experience for each, the sender and the receiver, can cause that miscommunication. Have you ever been talking to someone and you're like, are we even listening to the same conversation? A lot of it has to do with not just the style in which that it's talked about, which we will talk about style, but it also has to deal with your life experience and what those things mean. Okay, so we got to find a place to get to a place of shared meaning. We also have things like noise. That's what all these X's are. What do we think noise could be?
Noise can be anything, any sound.
Yeah. So we,
Disruption or something that will alter you hearing.
perfect. So we have internal noise and external noise. Internal noise are things like your thoughts, negative self-talk. That's the worst kind of internal noise. Being hungry, that's also internal noise. I'm using that because I'm starving. If you hear my stomach growl, it's going to turn into external noise, but it's also internal noise for me. So on the flip, external noise is somebody tapping a pen.
Static or like bigger and loud area.
Yes, Club Odom, right? Everybody calls this the library Club Odom right around finals because everybody decides, oh, there is a library, and then they go in there and just talk the entire time and play music. There's an ambulance that drives by, I kid you not, every single Tuesday, Thursday when I teach at 11. Every day during that time period. Okay, so those things are external noise. Okay, so here's your communication style assessment. So this other packet, this right here, what I need, this is what we're gonna do. I need you to flip to this very front sheet, okay, and if you need something to write with, let me know. And y'all know the difference between vertical and horizontal, right? What's horizontal? Okay, this way, right? Okay. All right. Flat latitude, longitude, that kind of thing. All right. So you're going to go across horizontally and read these words, and you're going to circle the one that best indicates you in that row. Just one. Just one. And do not overthink it. The worst thing you can do is read these like 7 or 8 times before you actually pick one. So where you're like, I don't know, I kind of like analyzing things, but then I also really like to talk to people, but like I like really a lot of options. Can I just circle one? No. Pick which one stands out to you immediately. Okay? Ready, set, go. Once you are done, you are going to go the opposite direction. You're going to go vertically and count how many words you've circled from each of those columns and put your totals down here on the bottom. Place. Okay, so here are the columns, and I didn't want to put the names on it until you finished your assessment, because sometimes we just like the way that sensor sounds, and we're going to answer things according to that column because that's just what you want to be. I don't know. Okay, so the way it's going to go across, this is thinker, this is feeler, this is sensor, this is intuitor. Okay, it goes in the same exact order up there. Okay, so first column is going to be thinker, and then feeler, and then sensor, and then intuitor. Okay, so let's find out a little bit more about each other. Where are my thinkers? And you are, the one that scores the highest is what you are. The one that scores the lowest is probably the other